Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dan French. This is the French Workbench podcast again on a Tuesday night. A lot of familiar faces. We got a lot of people in studio. A lot of realtors, financial investor, or not investor, financial planner.
Advisor, yeah.
Advisor. My name's Dan French. I'm your host of the French Workbench podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to talk today about foreclosures. We're going to talk about flipping homes, multi-unit. And we're going to talk a lot about what's happening with the inventory and how that's increasing here in Las Vegas. And I got my good friend here. His name is David Ramirez. He's from Simply Vegas. David Ramirez, what's going on, buddy?
Doing good, man. Just excited about Vegas opening back up 100%. It's exciting.
Shoo.
Finally.
We love it, don't we? And we also got Mr. Mike Keeler. He's here. He's the financial planner. What's going on, man? How you been doing, Mike?
I just made it back into town, driving back from Minnesota. It was a 25-hour drive. Woo!
Trooper, man. Somebody that makes the show, coming back from Minnesota.
I am dedicated.
You're dedicated.
Yes.
What's going on? So we also got Sandy Geddes. She's back. And Sandy, man, you just had a shot today, right? Tell us about it. What's going on?
I know. I can officially be mask-free, guys.
Wow.
What happened?
I literally just came from getting the COVID vaccine.
COVID?
Yep, I got my little Band-Aid.
Got your Band-Aid.
So if I'm foggy, you guys, sorry in advance.
No,
I
it's
wrote
all
everything
good.
down, so I got my notes.
You
just
got
in
the
case.
notes.
I know.
All right, you got the notes.
I have
That's
things
better
I
than
want
the
to
rest of
go
us.
over, but
Let's talk about this resale homes are rising. Also, inventory is climbing over the last 3 months. We're starting to see a lot of things that's happening here in Las Vegas where it's showing signs that we're maybe slowing down. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about, we'll start off with this, about inventory increasing. A lot of people maybe are going to vacation. I don't know if it's just because the homes are they're selling way over list. We still have a lot of that happening, but the overall the purchasing process is slowing down. There's a lot less people here. Looks like new builders, they're seeing those effects. And, we were going 100 miles an hour. We're now going about, 80 miles an hour. So we're still going pretty fast, but it's not what it was, let's say 2 or 3 months ago. And we're starting to see an increase in inventory. And finally, we're seeing these effects of maybe things starting to open up with people going back to work. Not everybody. So what do you guys think? What do you think is happening out there? Why are we seeing these effects? Like, what are your thoughts on this housing market starting to open up? I think a lot of people were waiting for this.
I think it's a combination of things. First, kids are getting out of school, so we have the vacation break, the summer break.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, people like to go on vacation during this time. Mm-hmm. So that's one part of it. And the second part is the country's starting to run again. Everybody's starting to get out of their house. They're starting to go to work. They're starting to do a lot of things out here. And I think that's taking an effect to what's going on.
Yeah, and
So they don't have time to buy a house?
maybe
Exactly.
they don't.
No,
they just put
they're
it
doing
on the
other
back
things.
burner.
Maybe they were cooped up in their home too, and they're like, you know what? We finally we're back to work. We have confidence in what's going on. Let's take a vacation. Or maybe they're just looking at other things other than buying a home. We all know it's tough right now in this market, especially here in Las Vegas. So when we see signs that things are starting to open up, and you see that inventory is slowly coming back. We still have 12 days on the market for most homes. I mean, that's not a lot. But I think it was like hours before. It's like you put it on the market, it's gone in one day. And so
sometimes it wasn't even on the market.
yeah. And then we got, I don't know, David could maybe attest to this or talk about this, but people always say these pocket listings and things that's going on. I mean, sure. You have listings that come on and they're off the market. Are these things still happening?
Yeah, definitely. We see a lot of the properties that are like coming soon, or sometimes a lot of the FSBOs, they go on Zillow. Yeah. And those properties aren't even selling quickly. So we're seeing a lot of that right now.
Yeah. And what about you, Sandy? You seeing the effects of this right now? Where you seeing a lot of people? Look, people are still buying homes. I'm not saying they're not buying, but what we're seeing is people out looking for homes is starting to slow down a little bit, maybe because they're discouraged. Maybe there's other things going on. Maybe they just don't want to overpay for these homes, and they know that. I don't know, but Vegas is a different market. It's a different, animal altogether. What do you think, Mike?
I think this is being repeated across the country in a lot of different areas. I've got a cousin trying to buy a house in San Francisco. Holy cow, he was looking at a house.
San Francisco?
Yeah. He was looking at a house, a cheap one at about $950.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's just a cheap one, and
it's a 1,200 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
700 square feet, two and one.
But built in the 1940s.
Yes, exactly. That's
Major
exactly
overhaul
what he was
needed.
looking at, and so he's trying to figure out, well, how much do I want to put on it? And the realtor finally came back and said, too late. It sold for 300 over.
Wow.
And it's just, wow. Okay. So there are a lot of areas experiencing that across the country.
Yeah.
Not just Vegas.
Sandy, what do you think? Do you think things are starting to open up here where, not open up, but where people are starting to see more inventory come on the market? We all know that sales are going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
I just was looking and I was talking to somebody about a property. They were selling it for like $366, right? And it's like, wow, $366 on it was like a really small home. And it was way overpriced. A little bit of work need to be done, but they're still like, hey, you know what? We think we're going to get it. But it's weird because if it goes too far, this home was on the market for 20 something days. So there's usually a reason, One of the things too people are doing right now is because this market is so hot is they're letting people stay in their home. And when they're staying there, like the seller will stay in the
Lease
home
back?
after they close to find a place, because we all talked about the big problem is, you could sell your house and you could sell it.
But then where do you go?
But then where do you go?
Exactly.
Yeah, because we always used to sell with a contingency and all these different things, and so now with everything in such a rush, it sounds like being able to lease back for a couple months till you find a place makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's starting to come into part of the negotiation, right? I mean, it's like, hey, you know what? I'll sell you my house and I'll accept your offer, but I want to stay in this house for 10, 15, 20 days because I'm not in an urgency to move out. And also I need to find my spot. And I mean, are you seeing offers out there like that, David?
Yeah, definitely a lot of lease backs for the sellers. And we're also seeing a lot of properties that have tenants in place. So I think it goes back hand in hand with the moratorium now that just passed, the eviction moratorium.
Absolutely.
So we're seeing a lot of inventory on the market that have tenants in place, and those tenants, they can have anywhere from 3 to 9 months left on the lease.
Yeah.
So the new buyer is going to have to honor that lease, and if they're doing FHA or VA, owner-occupied financing, that's not going to work for them because they need to move in the property within 30 days.
Absolutely. And I think when you look at a lot of these people writing offers, what are the things out there that are you starting to see that are maybe different than the normal process? I know we see leaseback. Is there something else that you see out there where you're writing an offer and a lot of these sellers are like, hey, we need something extra. There's something different.
Waiving the appraisal.
Well, that's already written in, right? I mean, so that's part of the deal.
That's nuts.
Right? It's like
that just blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, again, I think you look at the situation and I understand why they would do it because they're trying to maximize the
totally
profit.
Get it. It just, for me to wrap my head around it, it's just weird.
Well, look, if buyers weren't willing to do it and they were okay with it,
they're doing anything to
they're
buy
doing
the house.
anything. So, hey, if it's like this, it doesn't matter really the appraised value. If somebody's willing to buy it, they're willing to buy it, right? And it doesn't matter. I hate to say that, but when you look at the whole picture of where things are at, this market is really just an uncharted. It's like a market we've never seen before, and so you're starting to see things come out a little different. It's similar though to the mid 2000s, I would say, where a lot of people don't know what's going to happen. Do they think it's going to, you're going to start to see foreclosures? We're going to talk about that here in a second. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this market is going to continue to open up, or are you going to start to see foreclosures happening too? What do you think about the inventory situation?
Well, I was going to say I had an open house this past weekend.
Yeah.
And literally every family that came through, they were like, oh, this is way overpriced. So I feel like people are starting to kind of do their own research or form their own opinions. I always kind of base my forecasts of what's happening in the market off my husband. I've talked about him before, but he literally just today was like, oh, home values are coming down. These prices are all like.
What does he do, Sandy? What does your husband do?
He's in law enforcement.
Okay, there you go. So he kind of gets an idea. Okay.
He is definitely, I mean, he's pretty like a stickler about fair value.
Sure.
So which is why I use him as like my like basis of what.
Sounding board.
And he'll tell me, he's like, oh, that house is way overpriced. I'm like, I'll do the comps for you if you want to see like the other comps in the neighborhood and show you that it is a fair price. But
sure.
He's like, no, it's overpriced. And it's like, because that even like the open house that I had, I was like, babe, let's submit an offer.
Yeah.
Because it was so nice. And I was like, it's worth this much.
I mean, what do you think, David? Do you think that home sales are going to continue, obviously going to go up. We talk about this every week, but there's got to be a point where we start to see something change. I feel like there's some signs a little bit that because this inventory, maybe they're not going to get, these buyers or the sellers aren't going to get exactly what they want. I know they still, because they're writing in the contract as now it's part of the contract to waive the contingency, the appraisal contingency. It's like, if you don't fill it out that way, if you don't, put that contract in there, they're not even going to look at it, right?
Right.
In the ball game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all different types of sellers. So we're talking about resales, individual sellers that are selling their properties, as well as builders that are taking advantage of the market and just squeezing out, every type of profit they can. So they're doing appraisal waivers. They're not giving out any incentives to, they're reducing commissions. So we're seeing that across the board for all different types of sellers.
Yeah. And what about you, Mike? You're seeing you see activity. I mean, do you talk to a lot of people? They come in your office. They're like, man, should I buy a home?
Clients coming to buy and sell homes, and we're always talking about, does it make sense to do it now, or what's the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And I've got one client right now, kind of in the middle of buying a house, and he had a heck of a deal because they sold some family property, and his brother was supposed to close on a couple days before he was supposed to close on his new place, and all these crazy things, and I had to kind of come up with a contingency plan for him to get some money in case it didn't come through. But yeah, I mean, people are doing this. It's pretty crazy right now.
Yeah, it is crazy, man. And I'll tell you right now, when you look at the market as a whole, we're going to talk to David here a little bit on what's going on with the flip situation, also multi-units. So it's a good thing we're seeing this inventory increase, guys. This is great news out there for people that are maybe looking to buy, or maybe we're on the sidelines. Does it mean that prices are going to come down? No. It just means that maybe if the market slows down a little bit and this opens up a little bit, it now might be a little bit better for you if you're trying to make an offer on a home, because right now there's nothing out there. Do you know what's the number of homes out there? Do you guys know as real estate agents?
Yes.
You have it written down?
She's got it written down.
On her notes.
This past week, 851 available properties.
851 851 properties?
So that's about a 0.91 week supply.
Wow.
Single family homes?
All property types.
Wow.
So condos and
yeah.
So what were we before? Like
guys.
300? Come on, man.
Don't they say a healthy market is like 3,000?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying there's 850 properties on the market?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm tapped out. I can't get a home.
But this also said, like, the last week of homes that were closed on is 934. So homes are just going quickly off the market.
Jeez, man. I mean, people get homes on if it's a desirable home. We all know that, when you go make an offer on a house, if somebody's living in that home, probably not. I mean, you see the pictures on the MLS or, where you're searching. If it's just the outside, there's something going on inside, right? There's a problem somewhere. So you'll see those homes. If it's way overpriced, or if you see the homes that are, probably got somebody living in there.
You might
probably
need a good cabinet person.
Right, right. You mean the baseboards are probably screwed up somewhere.
Yikes.
The point is that the ones that are on there and they're gone, it's because they're ready to go. So the ones that you see out there, 850 properties, that just seems low to me, doesn't it to you?
Oh, extremely low. It's the lowest we've ever seen. This is the lowest in history. Then how? Even in 2006 when we had the frenzy, it's a lot lower than that right now.
I mean, news came out that we had 3 months increasing. Now, what are we increasing? Like, 5, 10 properties a month?
It is on an upswing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But how much though?
But
I want thousands. I don't want 5 or 10.
I know, but it's like an influx of homes being closed on. So it's homes become available and then they're closed on just as fast.
Yeah.
So it's
well, I mean, like you said, so the inventory is increasing. Home sales will continue to rise. And do you think, out of everybody here, do you think that we're going to start to get better on the sales coming down, or not asking so much above price? Or is it, even if the inventory opens up, it's going to continue? Because people have this mindset now. It's just like interest rates. Low rates, now it's customary to get a rate that's low. If I got to go to 4%, dude, I'm upset, right? I'm pissed off. But if I get a rate where I want it 3%, 3.5%, I'm okay, right? But it's like the homes. It's now you've seen a mindset where it's been like this for so long. Is it now the new normal thing here going on in Las Vegas? Is it going to continue?
I think it's just not going to be as high as steep of a curve that we're seeing right now. The properties are increasing 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
Month over month. So I think right now we're going to see sort of a plateau. And instead of such a high increase, it's going to be more of maybe a 3 to 5% increase. So we're still going to be going up, just not as a rapid rate.
Well, I think too, you look at the situation that we're looking at with the amount of homes on the market. I was under the impression it was like 2,000, but you corrected me. I thought it was like, man, we got at least 2,000. How many realtors are out there, man?
20,000.
So, let's do the numbers.
Yeah.
How many homes are out there for now? We all know that most
How many
realtors
realtors are eating?
right? Maybe the top 5%. Maybe.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, and it's like grind time, man. It's crazy right now. What do you guys think? You guys think that this thing, like, are realtors suffering right now with this whole thing?
I mean, we're seeing there's 20,000 licensed agents and over 60,000 enrolled into real estate schools. So everybody's out in the school studying, trying to take the test, pass the test. But what we see is about 50% or more of the agents, they don't renew their license the first year.
Wow.
So they realize, how hard the business is. You have to drum up your own business. It's a lot of work you have to do here. So a lot of them don't end up renewing their license.
I mean, it's an excessive heat warning this week, and I'm like willing to go door knocking.
Wow, you're willing to go door knocking in this hot weather. How hot is it supposed to be? 110?
118.
118, yeah.
Wow.
You guys are going to see
Why did
me
I come
out
back here?
You should make a video about that. All right, guys, I got out of the car.
118. I am door knocking. I want your business. That's where
118.
I'm willing to go to
There
that
you go.
extreme. Yeah.
And you
Because
still want to come to Vegas 118?
I mean,
that's hot.
to get people to
That's
list their
awesome.
homes with me, absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking. So listen, hey, that's what people respect, though. And it's like people are going to start to come here and they're going to start to want to see homes again.
Ooh.
They're already doing that, right? Open houses and
Sandy's
stuff.
sweating for your listing.
Hey, that's
There you go,
that
guys.
sounds, I
It's
don't
your
know.
marketing.
That sounds a little.
You guys saw it first.
Sandy sweat equity.
I can't.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Brett said 3,100 active, including single-family residents, condos,
Brett.
and townhomes. Brett,
Brett, come
what's
through.
up, buddy? How are you? Man, Brett just threw it out there.
3,100. So we
I
actually
just
went
got
up
the-
a little bit.
Got
Yeah,
it from
that's-
the Simply website from ours.
Oh, well, that's all right. Listen, hey, at least we got the numbers, right? We'll say it's somewhere in between. somewhere in there. So listen, even if it's 3,100, and that's the kind of the stuff I'm seeing, is we're starting to increase, right? And that's the point. The point is, guys, if you're looking to buy a home, is now the time? I don't know, but I can tell you that prices are going to start to hopefully come down a little bit because inventory is starting to soften. And I hope this continues. We had a normal market. What was it like, let's say 2 years ago? Would you say, was it like 8,000, 9,000 homes on the market?
Yeah, on a good healthy market, 6,000 to 8,000 homes.
Yeah.
were available.
So think about that. I mean, man, that's just crazy how much we've dropped and how things are just changed consistently. So what are you looking at, Mike? You're
I'm
like,
just looking at the chat thing. I'm looking at the numbers that Brett posted there. So
hey, man, that's.
I mean, on the MLS, it shows it's going up. So
That's the thing. And I think that's what people want to know. When is this going to change? And we're starting to see that. Very positive signs out there for everybody looking to buy a home because I'm interested in see where we're going to go. I'm also interested, if they're going to continue to do this 20, 30, 40,000 above, or they're going to start to be in check now, like these sellers, because this is a seller's market. They're getting whatever they want. Whatever they want. They can stay in the house.
Sure.
They can do whatever they want. So
Sandy's gonna sweat for your listing.
yeah, Sandy's sweating now in 118 degree weather. It's drastic measures when she's out and Sandy's sweating, right? So let's go over and talk to David. David, what's going on, man? You talk about flip properties. The market's back for flip properties, multi-unit. This is not my sector. None of us really know about it. Let's educate the audience, man.
Yeah, so we're starting to see a lot of the properties come back on board as, we can pick up some flip properties or some multi-units because the inventory was so low. A lot of these landlords, investors, they were just hanging on to these properties.
Absolutely.
So what we're seeing now with the inventory opening back up, the moratorium on May 30th for the eviction moratorium, that's going to help out the inventory as far as the flip and investment portion of it.
Sure.
Because now there's going to be opportunity for us to come out and pick some of those properties up. We can. It's going to be a win-win situation for most parties. So a lot of the times what happens is somebody's in distress, right? They can't pay the mortgage on time, or they had a death in the family or a divorce, some kind of a hardship that their family's going through. And so an investor will come in, buy the property cash, and the homeowner, whoever, if it's the next of kin, the children, or whoever's in charge of the property at that time, they're going to get, 100, 150,000, 200,000, depending on what the property's worth. And they're going to be happy because they're getting out of the property. Mm-hmm. They're going to get the cash out of the property. They don't have to make any repairs. They can sell it as is. The investor comes in, they buy it cash, hard money if they're doing partnerships. And then what they do is they come in and they renovate the properties, 20 to 30 to 40,000, depending how much work the property needs, put the property back on the market. And that's going to help the subdivision because now there's a renovated home in that subdivision, and it's going to help the value of that area.
Yeah, it just seems like Las Vegas has all facets of really selling right now. You know, you got the flip properties, the market's hot, a lot of single family residents, primary residents. But now you're saying that the investment properties are starting to come back, and they're starting to come back with multi-unit. Now, where is the multi-unit start at? Like if I was going to go buy a multi-unit home, like a multi-unit property,
Right.
Where's that year start out? Because I mean, these are all older homes. Is that right?
Yeah, they don't make the multi-units anymore. And this, I think it stopped in the 90s, I think, in the early 90s. There's a couple of them in the 2000s, but not very many.
So they don't have any HOA. They don't have anything like that, like where there's those extra fees. Do they have that?
There are a lot of with HOA, yeah. So they're kind of high, too. There's some multi-unit complexes that have HOA, and those could be anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month for the HOA. So that's going to eat up your cash flow.
So if I'm an investor out there and I'm saying, hey, you know what, David, I need you to find me a multi-unit property, and you know my price range is anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000. Let's just say, right? What's out there?
That's actually the range right now. We've seen talking about 3 years ago, these exact same fourplexes and triplexes, they were probably in the mid 200s. They were 215 to 250.
Yeah.
Those exact same properties now are in the high 3s to low 4s. So we're seeing those in 390, 380 in that range. So I think with the moratorium coming up with the evictions and all that, that's going to help the inventory so that those prices can come down a little bit, and that's going to help the cap rates for the investors so they can get in and actually see some kind of a return on their investment.
Is that all North Las Vegas? Like, is that mostly where those are at? Like, I remember seeing a lot of those. Yeah, it's like
most of them.
Old part of not old part of Vegas, but North Las Vegas, more towards like I hate to ever say this, but East Side. It's on the East Side. Is that right?
Yeah, most of them are out there. And then what we're also seeing is 5 units and above. So that's going to be considered commercial.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff we're seeing in downtown.
Really?
So we're seeing a lot of that stuff near Fremont Street and that area there. And we're seeing investors come and renovate, 10, 20, 30 unit buildings. And they're doing, modern fixtures, all these different things. And they're Airbnb-ing some of them. So they're making a lot of profit on those.
Yeah, the flip property situation, though, a lot of people think, well, Vegas, you missed your opportunity, right? Because they used to buy homes, obviously, back in 7, 8, 9, I guess you would want to say, even a little bit further than that. But you would buy these homes, and you would have the ability to buy this property, flip it, make a huge profit. Are they doing it because there's less inventory, and when they buy it, they know they can sell it above so much, because the increase is so much. There's a profit there that they can still make. Because I felt like investors in Las Vegas kind of went away. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think, David?
Yeah, I think what they're doing is they're sitting on the sideline. They're waiting for a good investment. A lot of them moved into the stock market, or maybe even Bitcoin.
Mike moved in.
There we go.
You have a big portfolio?
Look at Mikey. The big smile over here for Mikey when we talk about that stock market.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of them moved to single family homes too. The first house I ever bought was a duplex, and it was a heck of a deal.
Really?
Yeah. This was back in
Here in Vegas?
No, it was up in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
I was living up there at the time, and
Gotcha.
it would have been around probably 94 or something like that.
Sure.
And it was a cool deal. It was about $100,000 for 620 feet per side.
Yeah.
But it was a great place for a single person like me to live. My mortgage, as I recall, was about $900, and I charged $600 for rent for the other side, and it cost me $300 to live on my side. I mean, that was a heck of a deal.
I feel like that's the way to do it, because
that's a great way to start out in building equity.
I lived in a duplex in Chicago, and
Yeah?
just my room alone was $600, and then
In Chicago, that's not bad, right?
for a room.
Yeah, 600.
I mean, yeah, but that's just for a room. And then I had 2 other roommates,
Yeah.
and then there was a tenant in the basement.
Oh, wow.
And then the family lived on the upper level of the duplex.
Okay.
So their mortgage, I'm not sure offhand what it was, but it
Sure.
wasn't above $3,000, and they
Yeah.
were just cashing in on it, having me pay $6,000. The other roommates had to pay a little bit more because they
Right.
had the bigger room. So, I mean, hey, if you can.
Well, I think
the way to do it.
everybody's looking to save money, especially, when you get with these other states. I think California, I know Hawaii, you start kind of like families living together. I hate to say that, but because the cost of living is so high, you start buying homes and they start sharing these homes, right? And they
We
share
see a lot of that. A lot of multi-gen.
We're starting to see that,
homes.
yeah. We're starting to see that, right? I mean, you're starting to see multi-gen homes that are coming out because it's now popular. It's hard. Prices are going up, right? And it's hard. So talk to me about that.
And that's actually a really good point that you made, is that a lot of people don't realize that you can buy a multi-unit building and use an FHA loan or a VA loan. And that's
Absolutely.
You have to live there.
entry-level financing, and you could come in with a very low down payment. You live in one of the units, and then you can rent out the other unit, whether it's a duplex or a fourplex, and that will pay your mortgage and possibly cash flow on top of that. And then within 12 months, you can refinance it and rent the rest of it out, and then you can buy another primary.
Would you guys, okay, so like if I'm out here and I'm saying, you know what, I want to invest my money. I don't know what to put it in. A lot of people don't understand. Like you got the stock market.
Lottery tickets.
Right? Hey,
Stay lottery.
I'm telling you, you get that lottery ticket, none of this makes sense anymore. It's like, I'm out.
Don't
Just
forget
get the
about slow
Powerball.
people. Yeah.
Get that Powerball. Even if you were one of those people that were a part of it, you're sharing it, dude, I'm still gone. You're not going to see me. You know what I mean? Because if I'm getting that check, look, I love doing financing, real estate, everything. I like talking about this stuff, but I'm out of here. So stock market.
Yep.
What's going on with the stock market, man?
It's been bouncing around a lot. I think we're seeing a bit of a correction. You know, the market was so hot for such a long time, but things are, you know, the economy's still looking pretty strong. The big challenge we're looking at is possibly inflation coming back.
Yeah, that's a
And
huge part.
that's a
I
huge
talk
part.
about this every week on another show. Inflation is one of the key factors right now that is really kind of what the Fed's looking at to gauge to see what's happening and what they need to do.
Whether it's
Right.
Right.
And
If
what
they're
are they seeing
seeing
inflation across the board?
Correct.
And what do they do when they see inflation coming?
Well, typically they buy more treasuries and bonds, right? I mean,
Well,
they
also
Lower the rates.
No,
Well,
they increase the rates.
they increase it because what it's going
They're
to
trying to slow down the
correct.
economy.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because the inflation
Foggy
will
minded,
actually.
guys.
Said Johnson and Johnson. You should have gotten the Pfizer.
Mike's right about this though.
I'm thinking about the dollar though. How the dollar is the value of the dollar is decreasing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys,
So
I
if
can't
you're
even talk.
no, it's okay. You just had a shot, right? Did you?
I feel it like in my
Well, the
veins.
Johnson and Johnson shot.
Yeah, the
It's
Johnson
like the-
Not the other shot.
It's,
but-
it's
Another
Oh,
shot.
like a shot.
yeah, like it's Tuesday, so you know
Like
what that
a
means. It's
red cup
happy
shot.
hour
Yeah,
here
Tequila
at the
Tuesdays.
French Workbench Podcast. It's
There we
happy hour. No, so at the end of the day, though, you look at the situation, and you know when you look at stock market, you look at inflation, and going back to David's topic here, which is flipping multi-unit properties or even flipping properties in general. Would you say investing in the stock market or flipping homes is something that would give you a better return? I know they both can give you a return. What are your thoughts, Mike?
It's all risk, okay? And I would say flipping homes is a riskier venture than just buying a regular mutual fund, but you can make a lot
But it's
more
there.
money in it.
People see it's there. David sees it's there. What's the
yeah.
return on it, David? Like,
So-
what are you looking for?
It kind of goes back to the old rule, right? The higher the risk, the higher the return.
Yep.
So, I mean-
that's how it is. And if you're willing to take that risk, that's fine. You know, as long as you can. You know, the problem is I've seen a lot of people. They do this and they try and flip the home, and you know, all of a sudden, well, the market's not doing so good. They're having a problem
Sure.
selling the house, and now they got to rent it out, and they're renting it out at a loss, and you just, whoa, you know, you got to really kind of have some contingencies there. What if we can't flip this thing right away? You know, what could we rent it for?
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
would that cover our costs?
I just read something that I wanted to share, and I don't.
Is
I'm
it the
gonna-
number of properties?
No, it's
Okay.
the
Just like
the 70% rule. I just read about this. I'm gonna read it so I don't mess it up. So if the investor, you pay no more than 70% of the AVR value, which is after repair value, ARV. God, I wrote that wrong.
That's okay.
You guys, I'm like dyslexic right now.
It's the
after
shots.
repair value, you have to pay less than 70%
Yes.
to make any return. I mean, you
Okay.
can make return, but that's how you should gauge it as something that isn't a risky investment.
So
So-
if this house is going to be
Well, I have an
$100,000, so I
One-
can do the math in my
I
head.
have an example because I
Okay,
didn't want to
all right.
math in
Yeah.
front
Sure.
of you guys because that's embarrassing also.
No, it's all good. Look,
so
you're
if
bringing good points.
If the AVR, God.
It's okay.
After repair value, ARV.
ARV.
Dan, you got
You
me on
got.
this.
I got you. We're
is
good.
150, so that's after all the repairs.
Sure.
And then 70% of that is 105. $80,000.
Uh-huh.
And then the repairs are $250,000. 80,000 is what you would want to put in.
Okay.
So if
David?
everyone following along can math, did you math that?
Yeah, no, that adds up. That's like the golden rule. You want to be under 70%.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing right now in this crazy market is people are just overvaluing. They're seeing the properties that are in contingent status,
Yeah.
rather than the ones that are sold, and they're going based on that. So they're going way over value. So they're buying the properties at, like with those numbers, let's say for 105, and the value is going to be 150. They're estimating the value to be 170 to 180 because there's contingent properties that are in contract that haven't closed yet.
Yeah.
So they're banking on that.
Yeah. If you guys are just tuning in, it's the French Workbench podcast. We're talking financing, real estate, money talk. We always bring this up. I just want to let everybody know. Yeah, stuff.
Not
Mike
making
Keeler.
fun of Sandy's math skills.
Sandy's. Hey, I want to see that.
Sweat
I want to see
Sandy.
that after we're done. Yeah, I want to.
Sweat for your job.
I'm literally going to make some flyers.
No,
Yeah.
I want to see it. Sandy, no, listen, I want to see that equation that you got going on over here, that calculation that you have going on. So, yeah, I want to see it after we're done. That way I can kind of get on the same page because I'm seeing what you're telling me. I'm trying to get a visual, but I think I can see it better on paper. David, you're looking at the returns, right? And so you're looking at these investment properties. Are they mostly investment properties for these multi-unit? Because you got to have a number where it just doesn't make sense. If you're going to go in and buy a home, you can't go 40,000 above, right? Can you really go that high and still make a profit?
That's the thing. The cap rates are shrinking because the rents aren't going as high as the values are going up.
Yeah.
So the property values are going up so much higher than the rents. Your cap rates are starting to shrink. It doesn't make a good investment.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to make 3%, I mean, why bother?
Like you said, you wouldn't even cover the mortgage. You still have to come out of pocket.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just
6 to
throw the money in a
8%,
mutual fund for something like that.
Yeah, safer return. Huh? Safer.
Yeah.
So what is this number that if people like? Obviously, you look at this data, you're starting to see like numbers increasing or people calling you about it. We're not even. Are we even making multi-unit homes here in Las Vegas anymore?
No.
So now it's a premium for those. Are there's a bidding war? I'm assuming for those as well, right? It's like, hey, I'm an investor. I'm coming in, and I don't care what it is. I'm just going to pay it. Is it a lot of cash investors? Is it financing? What is it?
No, we're seeing a lot of cash investors coming in from California and these big states. So they're selling portfolios in those states, which are double the values in those states. So for example, they can sell a multi-unit out there for $1 million easily, over $1 million. And out here they come to Vegas and they can buy a multi-unit, a fourplex, for $450. So it's half the price.
2 of them for the same price and get a little bit more appreciation probably.
I have had a couple clients say, like, I'm going to buy a home here, and then I'm going to look and, like, kind of just go with it. Like, oh, I'm going to buy another home, so get ready for that. It's like...
It's almost like an addiction, right? It's like you get one. David's got multiple properties, but you get one, you want more. And then it's almost like, hey, can I get another one? Can I get another one? Can I get another one? So I get it. Right, it's like you start to see the returns, and you're like, "Man, I need this." Right.
Yeah. Aside from the moratorium scare, or with tenants not paying their rent.
Yeah,
I feel like it's scary because then you have to like really take into account like how much you need to pay of your mortgage for your investments.
And that's a good point because there's a lot of people that get into the market into investing, and they end up, they buy a primary, like you said, they want to buy a secondary investment. They end up buying another property to rent it out as an investment.
Yeah.
What ends up happening with the one property investors, they rent it out to family or close friends, and it kind of goes sideways from there because they end up, if they go delinquent, it's very hard to, go to an eviction process with somebody like that with family in place. So what you have to do with these properties is treat them like a business. It's all numbers.
100%.
No feeling involved at all. The numbers make sense. The contracts are in place, and you have to treat it like a business.
Especially for your
so that's going to lead us right into our other topic. I want to talk a little bit about foreclosures. So we're kind of encompassing a lot of things that's happening here in the Las Vegas market where we're starting to touch on, like I said, inventory increase. Just talked about flips are starting to come back. Let's talk about foreclosures. They're on the rise, right? We've seen it, 16% February. What does that mean for investment properties? What does it mean for properties in general? Will this start to lead us into having that nice amount of homes on the market that's going to open up for everybody? So now they have an option. Right now there's no options, right? It's like you see a property, like I said, on the market 20 days. That's just crazy. You don't see it anymore. Will this kind of support that? Do you think foreclosures are really going to start? Because we're seeing a lot of states. Vegas is weird because it's not one of them.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see a lot of states, come into this.
I'm wondering, are we still under the same rules that we had back under, 2009? where they slowed down the foreclosure process so much that it was so painful for the banks.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they are. Like I have people that I know personally that are actually in forbearance or they're in a modification and they're really trying to work with them. They're trying to say, hey, we'll extend the loan, we'll lower the payment, we'll keep it for a long period of time. The rate might even be lower. So yeah, maybe they want to keep, because banks don't want to foreclose. They just don't want to take that risk. They also don't want to take the loss. It's going to be a huge
loss. They took it in the
loss.
shorts back in 2009.
They should have.
So, well, they made stupid loans.
Bank CEOs. I'm not going to get into that one.
Golden
Yeah.
parachutes.
Yeah,
Oh
right.
my God.
But
yeah.
I think it's kind of neat that they're actually working with people. How can we get you to stay in the home and not lose our money?
They're
So-
looking at their own portfolios, right?
Certainly.
They don't want to devalue their own portfolio. So they don't want to flood the market with these foreclosures. So I think, like you said, it's going to be a long process. They're going to take, in a typical market, it's about 9 months to foreclose on somebody after the notice of default.
Sure.
I think in this market, it's going to be 12 to 24 months.
Do you think it's going to impact Vegas? Do you guys have an idea about that? Like, what do you think the foreclosure process is? How is it going to impact Las Vegas here? Thoughts?
I mean, I think it's definitely gonna give us more inventory. It's gonna be a healthier market for us. And what I think it's gonna do is it's gonna decrease the rate that we're going right now.
Do you think it's going to be a
Gonna
direct
plateau.
impact though from what's happening right now, or do you think, because we have a lot of investment properties, right, that people are not paying their mortgage and the investor doesn't want to pay it, right? They don't want to pay the mortgage. They don't want to keep these people in there, and so maybe some of these investors didn't pay. Do you think that's a big market where investors didn't work something out with their own servicer? Because I think a lot of people had that option. That's why I don't know, what is the real impact of foreclosures here in Vegas? Is it really going to jump with some high numbers that we've seen in other states? That's kind of what I'm looking at. Like, is Vegas really going to be impacted?
I think it's hard to gauge, but you can look at the notice of defaults. Those are starting to increase. And I think even more than investors, they're owner-occupied people. So the people that are owner-occupying these properties that were unemployed due to COVID or the pandemic, I think those are the first people that are going to go into some type of foreclosure or
Sure.
put the property in the market because they're not as savvy with the business and they're not constantly calling the bank and say, hey, can we modify the loan?
Yeah.
Can we work out a payment? Can we do this? Because people don't realize you have to constantly be on the bank. You have to call them every few months to find out what's the update, where's the economy, can I modify the loan, can I put everything on the principal, what can we do? You have to work something out with them.
How does that work, man? Because take me through the process of a foreclosure. Like, if somebody's looking for a diamond in the rough, right? They're like, you know what, I want to get a deal. How many times do people say, I want pocket listings, or I want a foreclosure, or I want something, right?
Like everybody wants that.
Everybody wants a
Good
deal,
luck.
right?
Our home
Everybody's
was
looking
being
for the
owned
big deal.
before we moved in, and it took like almost over a year.
Is it a foreclosure?
The house that we have right now, it was.
It was a foreclosure.
Yeah, so it was bank owned, and it took over a year to clear everything.
Take me through the process. What'd you guys
Oh,
go through?
that's
Just a little
Not my
bit.
wheelhouse, everybody.
David?
So the process is basically, depending on how often you call the bank and work something out with them, it's going to take typically 6 to 9 months for them to foreclose. So you're going to get a 30-day notice.
Sure.
30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late. And then after 90 days, they're going to give you a notice of default.
Okay.
And say, look, you haven't paid in over 90 days. We're going to sell the property in a foreclosure sale.
How does a buyer come in and buy? Like, somebody's like, let's say you're a realtor, you're representing a buyer, and you're like, hey, this is a foreclosure. You know, this is something that you might be able to make money at. How does a buyer get involved, and what is that process? Does it go to like the court? Like, is it an auction? Like, what happens with that?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. You can go to the courthouse. There's probate. There's divorce. So there's a couple different opportunities there. For us as real estate agents, we can go to title companies.
I see.
So title companies have all the data on
Yeah.
notice of defaults.
Yeah.
So we can get lists from the title companies of all the people that have been 60 to 90 days late, and then we can go out there door knocking, sweat equity, door knock them, cold calling.
118-degree weather.
A lot of people, they do a lot of cold calling. So
Yeah.
you're going to be on the phone, 100 calls per day to just squeeze out maybe 1 or 2 deals.
on
So that's
the
the
foreclosure.
process.
So you get like a foreclosure list, but I
Right.
mean, back in mid 2000s, it was crazy amount of numbers in foreclosure, right? It was like half the market was here
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
in foreclosure. We're not going to see those effects though. I can't see that we're going to be 50%. I would be surprised if we actually hit 10%. I'll be honest with you. I mean, because there's a lot of things that people are going through that have been worked out with a servicer, or they've been worked out in some way, or maybe they're just like, hey, you know what? We used it to the full advantage. I'm back to work and I can afford it now. What are you going to do at that point? Like, it really was a pandemic. I think we went through a recession last year. So we're kind of coming out, and we're coming out really, really hot. The GDP's up. So do you really think that this market will hit 10 or 15% as foreclosures? Is it really going to be something that investors are like, Vegas is it again?
No, I'm right there with you. I don't think it's going to hit that high because this market is a lot different than 2006.
Yeah.
Right? In 2006, you had a lot of 100% financing, people that were doing zero down on multiple properties.
Yeah.
So in 2006, you could buy 3 or 4 properties
Yep.
at 100% financing each property. And then on some of those loans, there were adjustable rate mortgages, ARM loans, 3 years, the rate adjusts. There's no way you can afford that mortgage with the rate adjusting like that. So in this market, we're not seeing any of those type of loans.
Yeah, I think banks back in the day, back in the mid 2000s, they had no answer. They had nothing to help. Like they were crashing. Money was. I remember being at my other lending institution I used to work at, and they were like, this bank closed their doors. This bank closed their doors. If you got loans in this bank, pull those loans out and put them somewhere else. I was like, all right, let me work on it. So we're not going to see that same market because I think banks figured it out where. Obviously, the lending part of it is a lot more. It's a lot more restrictive.
Now they want to see the payback part of it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they want to know that they're going to get their money back, and that was just stupid back in those days.
It was dumb, very dumb.
The
Yeah,
the stated income and all those goofy things.
well,
That was just-
bank CEOs and big investors and people
well, they
that ran
were
banks.
making so much money just
Yeah.
refinancing over and over
Yeah.
and over again, and it was nuts.
Yeah. And so I don't know, man. To me, I think foreclosures are going to be something that we can see. I don't know if it's something that we're going to see a big effect of. What do you think is going to happen with the moratorium when you see in July 1st? Because I know these things are going to start to come to fruition, right? You're going to start to see people back to work, or you better be back to work. Any effects in the market when this thing changes, David?
I think so. I think, with the mortgage moratorium coming to an end here July 30th, that's going to be a huge factor for the economy. We're going to see the banks start to process all these loans that are in a forbearance. Some of these people haven't paid their mortgage in over a year and a half, up to almost 2 years. So they're going to have to start processing the paperwork and find out who they're going to work with. If they're going to go back, put the entire amount back on the back of the principal. Are they going to do a modification? Are they going to get back on track? So they're just going to start the paperwork on that. It's going to take a long time, about 12 months.
Yeah, I think the slowness of the market, or us slowing down the housing market. You look at builders, they're slowing down, right? A lot of people in the traffic is slowing down here in Las Vegas, and you're seeing a lot less people come here looking for homes as we did, let's say, 3 or 4 months ago, right? It was a frenzy. So beyond that, with that, including with the foreclosure situation, I think blending those two is going to actually open up this market. Is it going to be back where it was before? No, but it's going to start to soften, and I can't wait for that because I think a lot of people are discouraged. They're sitting on the sidelines. You got probably a lot of people that are like, you know what? I'm going to wait 6 or 8 months. I'm not going to do anything right now because I want to see what's going to happen in the market. A lot of people think it's going to crash. Some people think it's going to go, maybe it's just going to keep going up. Nothing's going to change. It's hard to predict because, Vegas is a tough market. It's just a roller coaster of a market.
Well, being such a transitory city where people move a lot, that's really a big challenge. Are we going to see a huge crash? Not like, 2009. Will we see a correction? We could. We could see a decrease in housing prices. Who knows what we'll see? But, it's not going to be...
Nothing crazy.
I don't think so.
Take me in the mind of people out there looking for houses because I'm wanting to get some of the... Part of what people want to know and part of what people want is they want likability. They want to trust you, right, as a realtor. But they also want to know what does the average person out there go through buying a home? And what are some of the challenges? Like we still see that it's overpriced. Do you guys have a few stories that you've been going through recently with some of your buyers? Maybe you too, Mike, you got some people that may be looking at the market, some of the things you're hearing on the street that may either encourage or discourage these buyers from buying a home. So I'm going to start with you guys first. I want to talk with you. So Sandy, what do you out? You're out there talking to people all the time. What are some of the challenges? I know you recently closed on a house. What are some of the challenges some of your clients are going through right now, or you're seeing with other of your peers, let's say as real estate agents?
Man, I got really lucky with that because it was from the lottery. Remember with the...
Oh, you got a lot. So you had to go get into the lottery then, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know it's super emotional. wanting to buy a house, if it's your first time, it's like such an emotional experience. I feel like investors kind of can tone down their emotion, but it is like a rush. So when you don't get your offer accepted, I feel like that's really like discouraging. And people, I feel like I have a couple of clients who are just kind of like had enough, and they're just like, we're just going to wait. But wait for what? You know, like if the market continues to increase, you're just going to get priced out, and then, you know, you'll just be sitting on the sidelines. So
a lot of real estate agents get discredited for the amount of work that they put in, right? And it's a hard job. Like people think, well, a real estate agent, they're not, you know, they get paid well or whatever. I'm trying to figure out what is some of the things you go through that's very tough for you on a daily basis. People want to know, because I think it's like, well, as a realtor, you're out there, you're in the trenches, you're making calls, you're seeing people, you're in 118-degree weather, right? I mean, it's the truth. You're grinding.
I am going to be out there.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what other jobs do you really go through all the process? You're part therapist. Let's not discredit the realtor out there. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people think, they're just in abundance and everybody can be a realtor. That's not true. No. Everybody can't be a good real estate agent. Tell me what's going on.
It is a hard job. It's like an emotional, or it's like a roller coaster, you know? There are like highs and then there are super lows. So
yeah.
It's kind of just keeping momentum and keeping people engaged. And it's like, I know at the end of the day, like I want you to get the house just as bad as you want to get the house. So it's like, just trying to get them in there and keep them keep the momentum up.
It's discouraging too. Like you probably build that up and you're like, hey, I want you to get this house. We made a strong offer. It's clean. And then all of a sudden you get that gut blow like, oh, they took another offer. And then now you got to kind of bring their spirits up. And David knows about this.
Yeah.
And let's get right back into a property.
Yeah.
And so is that
another offer? And that's
is that the hard part for you?
Yeah, 100%. It's like just finding something, you know, if someone has their heart set on something, like for me, even like this open house I had my heart set on that one. I was like, come on, come see it, you know? And so I understand completely like what people go through when their offer isn't accepted. It's like rejection. It's like, I did everything I could. We came in with the cleanest offer, and you picked a different, you know, offer instead of mine.
You're actually going into it together, and you're sharing those emotional experiences together. And it's not just with one person. Look, it's tough. You kind of share the thoughts and the processes of what people want to buy and how they go through the process of finding a home. And then when they get denied, it's hard. Sometimes people just can't deal with rejection. Yeah. But David's good with this because, go ahead, David.
Yeah,
David's
a lot
he is.
So yeah,
he's used to rejection.
A lot of rejection.
I feel like the rejection queen right now. Like I can't, like
you're gonna build up your tolerance.
Anything at me. Yeah, it's like a tolerance. Like
it's a callus.
People say no to me all the time, and I'm like,
man.
whatever. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So a lot of people think that it's a sales job, right? That you're like a used car salesman, or you got to sell somebody and sell them a house. But what it is, going back to your point, is a relationship business. You have 100%. To build a relationship with the people, the entire family. You find out what what they're looking for, what type of property fits their family and their lifestyle, and you end up becoming friends with them after the sale because it's such an emotional process.
Yeah.
And I think the number one thing that people get discouraged is the communication. So as a real estate agent, you have to communicate all the details throughout the entire process. Because if you go a couple of days without communicating with a client, they start to get discouraged. They don't know what's going on. Even though you've told them everything prior to going into the contract, it's so much information, it's overwhelming. So you have to constantly go through step by step as you explain everything throughout the process. The more communication, the better. That way they feel more comfortable.
It's just, I think it's one of those things too. Like when you go buy something, you know, like if you're going to go out and you're like, you know what, I really want this new video game that's going to come out. Right. And then you're sitting down there at GameStop and you're like in the line, right? You're just like, dude, I'm determined to get this thing. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I'm going to pay premium, whatever it is. I'm just going to be one of the first, or I'm just going to get it. And then let's say they sell out, kind of like a home, right? It's like you're discouraged and you're like,
sure.
Do I really want to get back in line to do this? You know, do I want to get back in the trenches and go through this process again and potentially get discouraged? And I think there's a sign of rejection where you have to be able to deal with it as a realtor and also as a person out there buying a home, because there's multiple offers that are being put in. How many offers are being put in on homes right now? Would you say average?
Average five to
I have
10.
a list, but
Let's see that list. What's the numbers?
Brett's about to correct me anyway. So.
Brett, if she doesn't do it right, go ahead and put down his
to add to that, though, this is information just from the past week, so he's probably looking at the month supply. Offers accepted in the past week, Brett.
We're all going to look over at the screen and we're going to say, Brett?
1160.
Brett.
Okay.
Brett's here in spirit.
Right.
He's on the podcast.
So tell
right
us
now.
the numbers. What is it?
Just offers accepted from the past week.
Yeah.
1160.
1160.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, it
So-
just tells you that multiple offers, though, are going on homes. Multiple, right? I mean, what is the average times of people put in offers? How many is it per offer? Like, obviously, it's different. What would you say, 10, 15, 20? Like, are we still in that market?
I just think it's how long someone wants to wait. As a seller, are you going to wait a week and see how many offers come in and then go through them all? Or are you going to wait a day and pick from the 10 offers you got in the past day?
Yeah.
And I think it's a feeling out process, right? You
Yeah.
have to feel out every situation as far as the listing agent, the owner, the property, the price of the property, how long it's been on the market, your client, how much of a rush he's in, what type of property he's looking for. So all these different factors you have to take into account for when you're looking for properties and making offers, because that's going to be the process that it takes to get an offer accepted.
And also, too, David, I want to bring this up. And we just had a personal experience. David and I just closed on a house we're about to. And, there was a situation where
Congratulations, you two.
Yeah. We're awesome stuff, man. And the client was discouraged, and we understand why. I mean, we went through the process. It's very scarce out there. David flipped her back, or I wouldn't say flipped them back into a process of getting back into a home within, a week? Mm-hmm. You had them back in contract. So they went out of contract, issue with the property, went right back into contract a week later. And I'm like, dang.
On another
David's
property?
the man.
I wish I had other realtors like that where they're just, boom, getting people right back in.
Exactly. And it's just a filling out process. It's case by case. Everybody has different emotions, and it's all about what the client is looking for. So in that case, they got the offer rejected, and they were devastated. Like you said, it's emotional. It's a draining, emotionally
They said they weren't going to come here.
They said they weren't even going to move to Vegas.
We're tapped out. We're done.
We're staying in our state. We're not moving to Vegas anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to stay here. And what I felt out, I was like, okay, let's let them sleep on it for the weekend, right? Let the emotions cool down. They're going to fester over it over the weekend. Let's call them back Tuesday and kind of touch base and then kind of go from there. See what happens.
Yeah, Mike, you deal with people, obviously finances.
I deal with
I think
people.
finances, yeah, you do. Consistently.
Yes.
I think finances is a very emotional, it's not the fun part of a transaction.
Money is
right?
an emotional topic.
100%.
And people don't think logically about things. People get so excited when things are going up, but when things go down, they're not excited about it. So
you deal with roller coasters, emotional roller coasters on certain things. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
Stock market.
Right.
Right.
And we've got this cycle of investing, as it's going up, people are excited and want more in. And then as it starts going down, like, oh, wow, and then it gets to the bottom and they say, oh, I'd better sell. I'm like, well, that's the wrong time to sell.
Isn't there a Warren Buffett quote about that? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he's
when
one
people
of the,
sell, that's when it's the best
you
time.
Well,
wanna
when people aren't buying, that's the best time to buy type of thing. Opposite thing.
Yeah, opposite of what the
I can't-
average
I mean-
investor does. But yeah, it's something along those lines. And he's exactly right. And it's that way with any market, whether it be Bitcoin, houses, gold, stock market.
Would you buy a house over 40,000 above? Just gonna throw it out there.
I don't need another house.
If you had a client come to you and say, Mike, should I buy a house 40 or 30,000? Is it a smart move? I mean, people are going to be willing to buy whatever they want, but the question is it smart?
I think it all depends on your time frame. I mean, if this is something you're looking to flip, probably not. But if this is going to be, a 20-year house, yeah, why not?
Do you have investors that still buy in this market that want to flip? We just talked about that. You still do?
Yeah, definitely. Because like I said, they're banking on future values.
Are they rents, right?
Yeah.
It's the rents they're going to get for the property, correct?
Yeah, that's the backup plan. Yeah, the rents.
And that's how you're judged too, right? If you're going to buy a multi-unit home and you qualify, let's say you got to get a loan, it's really about what those properties are going to rent for. That's kind of what they look at. Is that right? Like that's the deciding factor, especially the bank. The bank will be like, well, what are you going to rent those units out for, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're buying a multi-unit property, the banks are going to want the rental comps. So when you're buying that property, they're going to do an appraisal on the value of the property, and they also want the comps. What are the area renting for as well?
Well, renters help you pay off your equity faster too,
Yep, they pay
faster
it.
than you can.
But the bank is always going to say, oh, this is only rented X months a year or something like that. They want to know that you can cover the rent should someone leave.
Yeah, there's a lot of sometimes they like letters of explanation, right? The banks request that, so they want to know how you're going to proceed with the property and how you're going to manage it. So they want to know exactly the details of how you're going to find tenants, how are you going to screen them, are you going to do background checks, credit checks?
Sure.
And sometimes the banks, they ask for those details as well.
What about, so you're saying that you would you buy an investment property based upon buyers paying the property off, or would you buy it based upon, or is it a combination, but would you buy it based upon how much you can get on your return on your investment per rents? So what is more important to you, obviously?
ROI.
ROI, right?
Yeah.
Same for you. Like, would you buy in this market, David?
I was going back to his point. It depends on, there's a primary factor.
Sure.
So are you going to pay $40,000 above list, right? That's the question. It depends on your primary factor. If you're going to be there for 20 years, raise your family, go to work every day, then that has value to yourself within your family and what you're going to invest in. So paying that premium, it might make sense if you're going to be investing in the long term.
You guys see in Vegas, right? You see it's opening up. What are you guys' thoughts about Vegas right now? I know are they doing the same stuff? Because I know we talked a lot about the housing, but I want to kind of give everybody an insight. What's happening down on the Las Vegas Strip? What's happening in Vegas? Everybody thinks Vegas is the Strip. That's what they think, right?
Yeah, we all live in casinos.
We do, right? I mean, that's where I live.
People always ask me, they're like, "Do you live here? Like in a casino?" I'm like,
I live in the Wynn. Where do you guys live? I mean, because I'm on the top on the head suite up there. So.
When I lived in Oregon, I we got married in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
my wife was from here, and they always thought, well, Elvis.
Yeah, right. Dude,
no,
he's still on the Strip. You can take a picture. Well, he's out there playing his guitars.
There are multiple Elvi out there. Yeah.
Isn't there a drive-through wedding here?
Yeah. Oh,
What's
yeah.
that?
Like a drive-through wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do like a wedding drive-through.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, you can do anything in Vegas.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, man.
But
But you're starting to see that activity. You're starting to really see, like we've been talking about it.
People are coming back to
We're
Vegas.
seeing it now.
We're seeing the tourists coming back. The casinos are open. The hotels are getting busy. It's great. It's good for Vegas.
The big question is everybody back to work? Because everybody's $800 a week, and you're on a $3,000 job. And you even work at the Strip. You work at a casino. They're paid very handsomely, right? At the casinos, right?
Oh, I like that you just said very handsomely.
Yeah, they do, right?
That's an excellent way to put it.
Yeah, it's good though, right? Right?
I mean, man, it has been nuts.
It's nuts. But these
So
people that
crazy busy.
are they're working and now they're not working. They're making as much, if not more, on unemployment, right? I mean, you see, we talked about that before.
We had issues yesterday, just going to the game, like the Knights game, with Ubers, because obviously, like, we're gonna be having a good time. We don't want to drive.
Yeah.
But our Ubers kept like getting pushed back, and then so our Uber driver's like telling us, he's like, there aren't any drivers. Like, it's just me. I'm like, wow, like people don't want to drive anymore because it's like
that happened to my sister. She was visiting my parents in L.A.
Yeah.
And she needed a trip to the airport, and the Uber driver canceled on her at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And
literally
it's just
canceled.
Wow.
On us, and we're like, we're gonna be late for the game. Luckily, like we made it on time, but we like got canceled at the last minute, and it's just I
There's
like
a big problem too,
the
right?
driver didn't want to go down there or something, or I was just like,
it just blew my mind that because I've always had great experiences with Uber and Lyft, and to hear this type of stuff now, it's kind of
crazy.
scary.
I think it's the unemployment, right? People are collecting unemployment, and then they have the federal incentive. I think once they cut the federal incentive, it goes back down. That's when people are really going to start going back to work.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, definitely. I asked because law enforcement, I was like, is there like a lot more DUIs now because people are just
you got the inside.
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, I was curious because I was like, well, if people can't get rides, are they just going to drive and like continue drinking and think they're okay? And I've noticed, me personally, driving home after like late hours at the Cosmo, I see swerving drivers, and I'm like, I'm like on the right lane, like going 65. I'm like, please don't hit me.
I'm not gonna call any people out, but there's been some California drivers that I've seen that actually has gone the wrong direction.
Are you serious?
No joke. And I'm not trying to call them out because look, I'm from California too, so I'm not trying to call you out. But dude, wrong direction. There's been situations where they're just like don't really know where they're going. And it's one of those things like when you go to California, I'm the same way. You don't really know where some of these streets are going or like how they cut off. So you're unfamiliar with
That's fair enough, but they're the bumps on the highway.
But I'm just saying it's not.
You know,
look
like,
at. Don't you
you've been to
agree?
Vegas.
A lot of the drivers here, especially because it's a transient city, they don't know how to drive together.
Well, the challenge is you've got people from all over the country who are moving to Vegas. So you've got people who've grown up in the Midwest or the East Coast, and everybody's got their own little different flavor of driving.
Yeah.
Some states, they kind of jump the green light, and some, like California, it's orange.
It's crazy. I mean, like I said, and it's not just California, but
And I
this
grew
is
up
just,
in California, too.
Did you
so
really? What
yeah.
part of California?
Northridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from Rancho area. I'm actually from Colton, Fontana, Rancho Cucamonga
Yeah,
area.
and I went to
yeah.
University of Redlands.
Okay, there you go. Right down
I
the-
know Colton.
Okay, you
Yep.
know it well. Yeah.
Yep.
So all that area, it seems like a lot of people are traveling here too. But you look at Vegas as a whole, I just think that there's a lot of people that when we talk about drivers, it's kind of a feeling out thing,
It's a hodgepodge.
It is, right?
Hodgepodge, I love that word.
It's a great word.
What other things are happening in Vegas? Do you get the insight on anything else?
I don't know.
Oh, is it private
There's
now?
some sort of hockey team that seems
Yeah.
to be doing
I mean,
okay.
the game last night was amazing.
Did you go to the game or you watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw the game?
I sold my soul to the devil to get tickets. Just
Did
saying.
you really?
Not really, no. But
some-
it was a lot, but they were expensive. But
Yeah.
it was worth it because the energy in the stadium arena
Yeah.
is like fully. It's 100%, and everyone in there is like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
You know?
That would have been
It's
cool.
time.
Somebody offered me a ticket, but I couldn't make it in time. I was still in Utah.
Oh, you were still driving.
I
Got
was
it.
still driving, so it's like,
Let's talk about this stuff. Let's wrap this up. Okay, we've been on here for an hour, and I want
Has it been
everybody.
that long? It's been so fun.
It's been so fun. I mean, it went
Golly.
quick, right?
I have a last thing to say.
okay.
I'm gonna put.
Marketing.
Yes.
David gets it done.
What's that?
You get it done?
Yeah.
Is that a good
Oh.
thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna make you a flyer that says David
Oh, that's
gets
the
it done.
that's the
That's the
slogan.
slogan.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
yeah.
that's
I
the
like
mark.
You like that?
That's
I
the
like that, yeah.
branding.
I'm gonna make you a little flyer.
David gets
awesome.
it done.
Yeah,
we
if
wanna
you're
see
able
your-
to
your
put someone
sweating
under
one.
contract, I'll make a Sandy sweat.
Sandy sweats.
Sandy Sweat Equity.
Jesus. All right. Well, there you go, guys.
But let's finish this up. And what I want to talk about is a lot of people out there want to know. Everybody comes on this show, and they all know the French Workbench podcast. By the way, guys, if you're out there, if you have any comments or any questions about what's going on, everybody here is in the industry, real estate, financing. Give us those shout outs. Give us those comments. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really want to see if
I
you guys
subscribed.
Did you
It says
subscribe?
I did, yeah.
Please subscribe to the channel. We need more subscribers.
And we
right?
need likes. Here, I'll give
we
it a
need
like
new
right
likes.
now. Oh, you just
Give us
got
some
one
likes.
more. Yes.
Did I really?
Yes.
Mike is taking
just
care
liked
of
it, yes.
But again, I mean, we're all here to try to help and get that content out. So if you guys are out there, please leave comments in the comment section if you have questions. Like the likes.
Don't make fun
Like
of
the
me.
likes.
Like the likes.
You can
like
make fun
Mike.
of me at the next
Hit
show.
that like button.
Yeah, and also any comments in the comment section, very welcome. And like I said, please subscribe to the channel. Sandy, we're going to start with you.
Why?
Last comments. Sell yourself in 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Man,
Why
I-
would somebody want to work
I
with
could
you,
go
Sandy?
on and
What
on.
makes you unique, Sandy?
What? Oh my God.
Your likability. What
when
is
people
it?
do this to me in a job interview setting,
this
I'm
is
like
your
immediately
elevator-
like blink.
This
My
is your elevator speech.
I know,
Come on.
and I can rail it off for anyone
Do it
like in
now,
a second.
now.
No, not
Go,
when I'm on
go,
the spot.
go,
no,
go.
you guys.
That's how elevator pitches are.
Listen, I can't. That's
Okay.
like why.
right.
In a job interview
All right, let's do
setting.
it
You want
this
to
way.
turn around
No.
and
I'm going to do it this
Maybe
way.
turn the camera around and
I'm
like,
going
look at
to
it.
do it this way, Sandy.
Okay.
I'm looking for a home between 400,000 and 500,000, and I'm
Are
looking
you
to
paying
put.
cash?
No, I'm
Because
not.
otherwise, we're gonna be best friends.
Okay.
Is what I'm gonna say. Like, we're gonna be in communication
Yeah.
all day, every day.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people when we go under contract. I'm like, so we're gonna be texting, or you can text me, email me any
Yeah.
hour, because if you have questions, which you will, I will be available for you. But we're about to be best friends. Because,
Absolutely.
Like you said, you get to know their. One of my clients like brought their parents, so I got to know their parents, and I was like,
Have fun.
yeah, it was like fun. I'm like, oh, we're like
See, and
part
I
of
think
a family now.
that's what people want.
So that I would
Yeah.
like to say that for my selling feature, I'm gonna be like hospitable, personable, and I'll get to know your family, and we're gonna be best friends.
So, like, if I'm a person out there and I'm like, hey, I want to buy a home at 400,000, and I'm looking to put down 5%, that's a tough market for you to work with somebody like that? I mean, I know cash is there, but would you be able to
Yeah.
find it is?
No, I'm saying like I will work with anyone, and I know you and I
Yeah.
work together as well, and we'll get it done.
We'll get a deal done.
Yeah,
we've been in.
get it
We've
done.
been
Done.
We're gonna get her done. We're gonna get
Sandy
her.
gets it done too.
Sandy sweats, gets it done. All right, David.
Yeah, David.
What's up, man? So let's
Help
talk.
us.
All right, I'm out there. I'm trying to buy a home, and I'm looking for somebody to work with. You know, obviously, you've seen all facets of this market. You've seen many things. You can pretty much just write your own ticket. Probably, you're a closer. You sell a lot of business, right?
ABCs.
Yeah, I would say like if somebody's out there looking for a home, $400,000 to $600,000, is that a realistic start point?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think who you hire really matters. So the agent that you hire, it really matters because they have to have experience in this market. They have to understand what it takes to get an offer accepted in this market. And if you're a seller, you know, you have to understand what kind of marketing it takes to sell the property as well. Right now, it's a seller's market. So that all, you know, you really have to do your homework on the agent that you hire because you're not going to get a property. You're going to be in a bidding war. You're going to lose a property. You're going to be emotionally involved. And all those different factors you really have to take into account for.
So where's your website, man? How does somebody get a hold of David Ramirez from Simply Vegas?
So website is davidchristianrealtor.com. And that way you can search properties. I have links there, my bio and testimonials. Everything is on there.
Cool. So you got a history there.
Yeah.
Big Mike.
Hey.
Mike Keeler, come on down the red carpet, man. What's happening? So
Wow.
let's talk to you about how can somebody get a hold of you? What's your website?
peakfinancialsolutions.com.
Okay. Now, peakfinancialsolutions.com. Let's talk about when somebody goes to see you, what is the typical person that comes to see you? I'm curious, man, because I don't know who, like, what
Me.
yeah, like,
I would come to see you.
yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. Sandy Sweats would come to see you, right?
Oh my
and so
God.
that's your deal.
So I work with a wide variety of people. I've got people who are just starting out in life, want to start putting money away. I've got people getting ready to retire. I've got people in retirement.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the different key areas I'm dealing with.
Sure.
And one of my biggest goals is trying to reduce taxes for people in retirement. Everybody thinks, I can retire debt-free. I'll have the mortgage paid off, all this and that. But if you have an IRA, guess what? There's a big debt in there. That's called income tax.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I think a lot of people too don't really understand what all goes behind the scenes. I mean, even for me, when I was growing up, there's nobody in my family that was like, hey man, we all know that we didn't get any education on how the old economic system worked, but we also didn't get education on why you would need a financial planner. Look, I get it. It's not glamorous. Lending is not glamorous. That's the boring part.
It isn't?
No, it's not.
I
People
thought-
don't want to talk finances. They just want to keep it hidden. And the fun part's buying a home. So I hate to say it, man, but you and I, and don't kill me, but we're like CPAs, man. Nobody really wants to come talk to us unless they need us. We're like the dentist. Nobody wants to go see the dentist, right?
Hey, I just got a great idea. I noticed when I was coming in, the building next door, they had sedation dentistry.
Yeah.
How about sedation home loans?
Hey, that's a good one, man.
So,
So
you know,
you
you
can
could just be
drink
asleep.
while you're doing. Oh, is it sedation? Like
Yeah, they
getting-
knock you out.
Okay.
Because, having to come up with all that paperwork, that's
Yeah.
a pain in the butt. You guys can be tough.
Well, it's tough, man. But I think people don't want to put the effort because it's like, man, I'm only going to do this when I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it until I'm ready. And I think that's the thing. But when you go look at a house, that's the fun part. Hey, I can look at a house, but guess what? I don't feel like there's any obligation because I'm just looking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sign anything. I'm just looking. And I think the financing part, it's very important. I think the younger generation is starting to look, and when I say younger generations, 20s, 30s, they're starting to look to get financing up front before they actually find a realtor. Smart move, everybody out
get
there.
all your ducks in a row.
They're
Get all your
doing
bank
that.
statements and all that stuff. Yeah.
And I think they're doing that because I think what's happening is they're starting to see online, they're getting a lot of data, a lot of information. They can find this stuff now out, but it's really finding the right person.
Certainly.
And I want to pitch one thing, VegasLoanGuru.com. Go there. Refinances are hot. If you guys want to get a refinance, please go there. And Mike?
Yep.
If somebody-
PeakFinancialSolutions.com.
Yep.
Now, here's something cool that realtors can actually do. Since you're 1099 employees, you can often do what's called a solo 401k, and you can put up to 50 or 60 grand away tax deferred. That's an amazing deal. So come visit me.
Come visit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
All right, guys, we're going to end the show. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys, like I said, if you
Yeah,
guys
it's been
want to,
fun.
yeah, it's been great, man. Let's hit the subscribe button. Let's also get some likes in there, please. And if you guys want to get in contact with David or Sandy or Mike, you got all this. We're gonna have we need to start putting that contact information.
Sandy Sales LV.
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, you could put that.
Say that again, Sandy. What is it?
Sandy Sells LV, not Sandy Sweats LV.
Oh, Sandy Sells LV.
You can get that one too.
But you know what? You got that
Color.
unique proposition right there. If you get Sandy Sweats, dude, everybody's gonna come to you for real estate. Would you be willing to switch it?
I mean, we'll see.
Will her husband like that? He's got a gun, I hear.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's something she's got to run by her husband. So, anyways, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you at the next show. If you guys have any questions, like I said, make any comments in the comment section, and we'll see you Saturday at the next stream. Thank you guys for tuning in.